Yo, it's your boy Godzilla back again. And after I did the tier list, uh, you see, I ranked Far From Home and Homecoming based on my memory. And the last time I watched both of those movies were back in 2018. So I rewatched them recently again, a couple days ago. Yeah, let's get right into it. Let's start off with Spider-Man Homecoming. Obviously, this isn't The Amazing Spider-Man 3. Very, very sad that Andrew Garfield isn't reprising his role as Spider-Man, and we're not getting TASM 3. Like, there should really be a TASM. Anyway, like, we're getting off topic, we all know who the best Spider-Man is. It's not even a debate, but let's just chillax. Spider-Man Homecoming is it a good movie? Yes, I'd say it's a good movie. Is it a great movie? No. It lacks what the formula Spidey needs to be successful. I can't explain it. It's like it doesn't have the core elements to a Peter Parker Spider-Man story. I mean, I understand that in the 3 series we have so far, and Spider-Man just not getting an MCU, I understood that we weren't going to do a origin story. I understand that it's going to get old doing the origin story since we already did it twice in less than 10 years. I understand. So I expected them to be like, yeah, we can't just do this again. We're repeating ourselves at this point. Let's just fast forward into his first couple years as Spider-Man, where he's already got the powers. Uncle Ben's already dead, and Uncle Ben, we get reference to Uncle Ben. We don't actually see him tell Peter, "Great power comes great responsibility." You don't have to go all out. Just make sure that Uncle Ben is a very good big part of element of Peter's life. Have Peter mourn his death, and using the Spider-Man persona as a way for him to cope with his uncle's death. But they didn't do that. 1, Uncle Ben is barely mentioned. 2, it was only mentioned once. Or what? No. It was Far From Home that mentioned Ben once, but it wasn't mentioned in Homecoming. He wasn't mentioned once in Homecoming. And we're plucking Uncle Ben and we're putting Tony Stark. I mean, I know the comics did it, but I'm gonna be honest. Out of the comics I did read, I never really liked that. I always liked the classic Spidey tale of where there's an Uncle Ben and an Aunt May, where Uncle Ben is there, and the idea of Tony Stark being... Tony Stark should not be a person Peter should look up to. Obviously, he's a superhero and all that. But if you really wanted Peter to look up to somebody, you probably should have done Captain America, in my personal opinion. Because Steve Rogers would be a much better person to look up to than a Tony Stark. Because Tony Stark goes about life the wrong way. Because he has character flaws. He has an ego. And his ego gets people into trouble. And himself in trouble. Which is why we love Iron Man. We actually, I like Iron Man. I don't like him as much as Spider-Man. But Iron Man's pretty good. Iron Man's a pretty cool superhero. And obviously, Robert Downey Jr. did fucking amazing as Iron Man. And his whole tenure in the MCU. He did fucking fantastic. We ain't shading Iron Man. We ain't saying Iron Man is a trash hero or he should not be in this movie. Like, he can't have a team-up movie with Spider-Man. But now, for this first movie, you're adding a lot of combustible elements. One, you gotta shift focus to a new Spider-Man. And you have to do it right. You have to do it delicately. When back in 2016 and we knew Spider-Man was going to become a part of the MCU, what I thought is they have to do it right. They have to do it right. If they fuck up, they fuck up. And there could be no return. But what did they do for the first movie? Make him look like a fucking joke? I guess until the end he had that moment, but Peter Parker / Spider-Man's a fucking joke in this movie. He gets bossed around by Tony Stark. Obviously, yes, he's a child. Tony Stark's an adult. Obviously, he would have to listen to the adult figure. Obviously. But this is the problem. You can't do Spider-Man like that. You wanna have your heroes looking the best, like on par with the others. Like what they did with Hulk is another example. I used to love Hulk. Hulk used to be my favorite. But then what they did with them in the MCU, it made me just not really like Hulk anymore. I lost my love for him, and he's just an alright superhero to me now. And now it's just Spider-Man and Batman. But that's what happens when you get ruined so horribly bad. But let's actually get back to the focus of the video, which is the first two Spider-Man movies in MCU where he's the title character. Now, let me list out some positives about Spider-Man Homecoming. One, I like the casting choice of Tom Holland. You see in the movie, he is a perfect youthful teenager. He has that awkwardness that Peter Parker has. What else? He's got the classic Spider-Man tropes that you would expect. But you know. But then when Peter got into the Stark while Peter's still in the Stark internship, which is just basically him being Spider-Man, but that's besides the point. With that, Stark gives him the suit, and people have called it the Stark suit. And I have to be honest, y'all saw it in my ranking video. That was dog shit. That suit was atrociously bad. I gotta be honest, this is probably a hot take. I don't like the comic book accurate spider on the back. To me, it looks like a fucking ladybug. Which is why I loved the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield suits. They looked like a fucking spider. It's not that hard. I love those suits. Those are like the goats for me. But I don't know how to explain it. The suit is just atrocious. It's so fucking bad. Is the Iron Spider suit better? Yes and no. In terms of no context at all, the suit is pretty good. But the thing is, it's an Iron Spider suit. It's basically Iron Boy Jr., which that is not what I want Spider-Man to be. I want Spider-Man to be Spider-Man, not Iron Man 2.0. No, 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 no. That's not how I want my Spider-Man to be. Sorry. Michael Keaton was Batman. I forgot. Was it the 90s he was Batman? But he was Batman. He played Batman, and now he's getting a big Marvel role as Adrian Toomes, the Vulture. Now, I don't really like Vulture as a villain, but Adrian Toomes is really, like, his story is interesting. The weird coincidence that he's also Peter's crush's dad, that you know, I mean, you gotta suspend your disbelief. It's not dumb because it's possible. I mean, I liked how, even though he was bad, he created compelling arguments against Tony Stark. But the thing is, Peter didn't take in the information. You can have Peter still stop Adrian Toomes because he's still done some criminal shit, because that's what Spider-Man has to do. He has to stop the crime. But also realize maybe Tony Stark isn't really a guy I should look up to. If they did that, I would have fucking loved it. But what they did was have him not take it at all. Have him have that. I have to admit, that was that cool moment of where he was stuck under the rubble and he had to see that he was Spider-Man, and it gave him the motivation to actually lift it up and save himself. That was badass. Tom Holland looked fucking insane in that fucking shot. The shot of him holding it, that's badass. I'll give it that. And I'll give John Watts some credit. That car scene with Adrian, Liz, and Peter, that was some top tier stuff. It's like Peter knows this is the guy I've been fighting, and he's all weird because he doesn't know how to react. He's all weird like that. And then Liz keeps saying that he kept disappearing, and then the way Adrian Toomes had a very big brain moment and was like, interesting. You're definitely Spider-Man, Peter. At a certain point, I don't know, the whole, your identity is going to get revealed, the villain knows the identity of Spider-Man, has been done before and we hated it. But lucky enough, they did it later because Adrian Toomes, he spared Peter basically because he saved his daughter. That to me, I'll give it that. That's what made Michael Keaton's Adrian Toomes a really compelling villain. I'll give it that. I personally like Adrian Toomes better than Mysterio, but that's just my personal opinion. Jake Gyllenhaal is amazing as Mysterio. But I just don't know. I'm more captivated by Michael Keaton's Vulture. Adrian Toomes. But the one thing I don't like is how he's not connected to Peter. He's mostly connected to Tony Stark. Why he's in that condition is because of Tony Stark's damage control, which he explains to Peter in their final confrontation. But the thing is, that has nothing to do with Peter. He explains to him how the rich just looks down on us poor people, which you know, he was making compelling arguments. But Peter doesn't really take it in. It doesn't seem like his opinion of Tony Stark changes at all. Or like he won't keep Tony Stark on check with his ego. No. He's like, no, I don't want to be an Avenger. Now I gotta talk about the ending. The ending on its own, without the context of Infinity War, it's fucking fantastic. Because the whole movie, early in the movie, he was bugging Tony, bugging Happy Hogan, about doing an Avengers level mission. But once he's gone through his journey, it was like, yeah, I think I want to be the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, stay on the ground. Which I felt with what they were doing, that was the perfect ending. With what they were doing, you couldn't have ended it any better. Peter actually grows as a person and realizes, yeah, I'm not ready for this Avengers level shit. But now that it's been many years after, and we had Infinity War, Endgame, all that, this ending is bad. Because in the start of Infinity War, the first time you see Spider-Man, he has the Iron Spider suit, he's an Avenger. What? But the ending of the Homecoming was he wanted to stay the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. But you can't just do. If you wanted Spider-Man to become an Avenger, you should have had the ending. Oh, I happily accept this, Mr. Stark. I'm an Avenger now. But no, they made it a big thing to where he's good and he didn't need to be an Avenger. He wanted to stay the friendly neighborhood Spidey. That was his character arc. But then Infinity War takes a dog crap on that shit and just, he's an Avenger now. Without any context of scenes beforehand, with the build up to him wanting to become an Avenger. And especially after we got this, that pissed me off. That's what made Homecoming a really mid-movie for me. If Infinity War didn't take a crap in the ending, I would honestly say this is a really solid movie. Second best MCU Spidey movie. But with the context we have after and what happens in Infinity War, I couldn't have ranked this movie any higher than a C. I couldn't. But since it was such a solid story and Peter had an arc through it, if we're just looking at this movie, it's a solid movie. But I can't just be a hater when that was a very big point where he didn't want to be an Avenger and then he's just an Avenger. Yeah, just go with it, you know. We're just chucking baloney at a wall. It's like they got cold feet at the ending of Homecoming to make Spider-Man Avenger, but then there was like, fuck it, let's just have it happen. But we already had the ending of where he didn't join. It doesn't matter. Just have him join. But also, Ned Leeds. He's basically just a bootleg Genki. He's just the guy in the chair. He's basically Genki, but it's Ned Leeds. What's the guy's name? Jacob. He's a pretty good job as Ned Leeds. He's really funny. The scene when he's built up to where he's the guy in the chair. He wanted to be guy in the chair, and then he gets it, and that's another of my mini arc that was completed. He became the guy in the chair. But then the teacher came in and was like, "What are you doing? It's a dance out there." And he actually said, "I'm looking at porn." Then Oh my god. Wow. That's just crazy. But overall, this movie can't get any higher than a 7 out of 10. Just very mediocre. And it's because of what Infinity War did to this ending. And the thing is, I understood that you couldn't just build up to that because there were so many combustible elements in Infinity War. You gotta have these guys here, you gotta have these guys here, you got too many characters, you can't really just focus on Peter. I understood that. It's a very big team up movie. You gotta, it's so many combustible elements. I understood that. But why just have him be an Avenger? If you wanted Spider-Man to be in the fight with Thanos, you could have had Spider-Man either sit out, or at the end of Homecoming, he's an Avenger. So at least it makes sense in terms of he's being an Avenger at the start of Infinity War. He has the Iron Spider suit and everything. That's all you should have done. If you wanted him to be an Avenger, have him become an Avenger at the end of Homecoming. So it makes sense why he's an Avenger in Infinity War. No context is given. But 7 out of 10, pretty mid movie. It was pretty solid. I mean, it's none of the actors. The actors honestly carried this movie. It's just kind of the script was kind of bad, and what Infinity War did at the ending. That's what really dragged this movie down. But we're going to move on to Spider-Man Far From Home. Spider-Man Far From Home. My gripes with Homecoming are still present here. It doesn't seem like Pete learns a lot. And that's just kind of, bad, because the whole concept of Spidey is that he learns something at the end of his stories. He always learns not to underestimate his opponent, his villains, and he always makes a mistake. It causes him or someone he loves closely to get hurt, and then he fixes that mistake by not repeating it the next time. But not in this. So obviously, Endgame killed off Tony Stark. Robert Downey Jr. was done playing Iron Man. If he doesn't want to play Iron Man anymore, he doesn't have to play Iron Man anymore. It's up to him. He has the obligation to deny if he's going to do these movies or not. But it's up to him. And I'm not going to shade him for not being in this movie. I think with what they were doing, it's probably better if he wasn't in this movie. One negative is he just all of a sudden has a crush on MJ or Michelle Jones, but he didn't care about her in Homecoming. But now he wants to kiss her and shit. He's in love with her. But dude, you were in love with Liz. You didn't give her a second look at Homecoming, but now you like her so much? Kinda weird. If you wanted to build a relationship between MJ and Peter, have them become friends in Homecoming. And then have her help him with his feelings with Liz. Not with Peter being oblivious to the fact that she's crushing on him. That's Peter Parker. That's classic Peter Parker. But they didn't really do that. But now let me talk about the big villain of the movie. Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio. Jake Gyllenhaal's a good actor. He does good as Mysterio. But there's just one simple problem. There should be no reason why Peter should give a fuck about him. He doesn't connect to Peter. He connects to Stark, just like what Adrian Toomes did. It's the same issue that was present in Homecoming. It's in present here. Is the villain... He didn't do something to Peter. He didn't kill Uncle Ben, or he didn't do nothing to Peter. They all have something to do with Tony Stark. They're Tony Stark villains. They're Iron Man Tony Stark villains. Because their motivations for why they do bad is all because of Tony Stark. Tony Stark tastes... I wouldn't say he takes center stage, but he's mentioned way more than he should be. Now, if you want to do the whole grieving for your mentor figure thing, yeah, you can do that. But you should have had him grieve for Uncle Ben, but you have him so sad for Tony Stark. Kinda, I don't know, man, but we did get a superhero team up. We got Nick Fury coming along here, but it's not really Nick Fury. It's the aliens that shapeshift into him. But yeah, let me talk about the suit. I fucking love this suit. This suit is top tier. I ranked it so highly for a reason. I would choose this over the Iron Spider suit. This is... The spider on the back looks like a spider and not a fucking ladybug. And you got the cool spider on the front. The whole techie... It looks all techie and shit, but it still gives you a spider feeling. Like the mixture of Spider Tech with Tony Stark Tech. It works well. I like it. I like this suit way better than the Stark suit. God awful suit. But this suit is fucking amazing. The upgraded suit is fucking amazing. Zendaya as Michelle Jones is good. She was good in Homecoming too. But the thing is, there was no reason to give a fuck. It felt so forced. It was bad enough Peter was so obsessed with Liz without actually getting to know her. Well, that's classic Peter Parker, but at least eventually Peter gets to know his love interest. He doesn't even know her and he's kissing her and wanting to kiss her and shit. But... Oh my God. Dear Jesus God. So, and with the blip, confusing the timeline and how Avengers Endgame takes place 5 years after 2018, this is in 2023, right? Yes, in 2023. But they went back, that's the thing. You gotta suspend your disbelief a lot when you're doing time travel stories. Because there's gotta be limitations to what you can do when you time travel. You can't just bring a bunch of people who previously died. Are you sure it won't fuck up the multiverse? But this is where we first get mention of the multiverse existing. Well, technically speaking, it was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, but in terms of live action, it's this movie. Mysterio mentions that he's from a different Earth from Peter. But the thing is, he was actually bullshitting. But still the multiverse existed because of what we got after this movie. By the way, Spider-Man No Way Home review, it will come soon. I just gotta make it big. But because it's contrary to popular belief, I actually do like Tom Holland as the web slinger. I do like him. It's just the bad writing. He tries his best, but like he can't really be saved because the writing is so bad. But that's besides the point. The whole hallucinations thing from the drones. That's a very big plot hole because how will the drones be able to cause harm if they're just hallucinations? How will they be able to cause harm if they're just hallucinations? You know. It's kind of... but just don't question it, guys. Just enjoy the movie. And you can enjoy this movie. Kind of. You can enjoy the fact that it's a better suit. But this is a main plot point that my big gripe is the eat of glasses. One, Tony Stark is an asshole to everybody for lending a fucking 15-year-old. Obviously he's like 20-something in this movie. Tom Holland's actually 20-something, but he's a teenager in school. So you're telling me you gave glasses that if you acquire a target, you can send a satellite missiles to kill them to a kid who's still in high school. What? It would make sense if Tony would give it to Nick Fury or a Steve Rogers. It would make sense if he gave it to them. But then Peter was like, maybe he gave it to me so I can give it to the right person. No, what? That's so dumb. No. You don't give very dangerous glasses to the wrong person. Tony Stark. That's so out of character for Tony Stark. That actually really is, because even though he's an arrogant, egotistical dick, he is still intelligent. The fact that he would do that is kind of very out of character. Manipulating him into going into war with the Avengers, that I don't know why people kind of like thought that was, I don't know. The fact that he was there, it was cool. It was a spectacle. But when you look at the logistics, he manipulated a 14, 15-year-old kid to go into war. That's kind of fucked up. Giving that kid way too big responsibility, pun intended, to somebody who just started being a superhero. But that's besides the point. The thing is, why? How come Mysterio appears out of nowhere and Nick Fury is just cool with him? But he's kind of iffy about him, but he still kind of trusts him. But what? I don't know how Peter was so oblivious to the fact that Mysterio was full of fucking shit. But, yeah. That just creates a plot hole because the shit was hallucinations and they're going to figure out it did no damage. If we're being realistic about it, and we're going by the film logic of what his drones do, what his hallucination drones do. This movie is just not that good. People try to praise it, which confuses me. It's still as bad as I remember it being. Back when I saw it back in 2019, it still is bad. It was bad. I knew it was bad on my first watch, and I never watched it since. Maybe, obviously, I will watch Spider-Man videos and catch clips of it every now and then. But I never popped in this movie again. I never purchased this movie or watched this movie again until recently for this video. But I don't understand. I'm just baffled that, like, they would think that would be something Tony Stark would do. Why would Tony Stark give dangerous glasses to a kid? What? Also, I will be reviewing Endgame and Infinity War. I'll give my opinions on those. If I ever want to rewatch all the movies leading up to Infinity War, I might. I don't know. But I'm mostly just a Spider-Man fan, so I don't really pay attention to the other heroes. But I did catch the Iron Man and Captain America movies because I do kind of like those heroes. But that's besides the point. We're getting off track. But people really tried to say this saved Spider-Man. In box office, yes, it did. Yes. I'm pretty sure these movies made billions of dollars in the box office. Which, yeah. That tells you right there. Well, your box office doesn't really say if the movie is good or not. But that tells you did something right, in a sense. You did something right if you can get over $1 billion in the box office. You did something right. But I can't help to feel that my boy Andrew Garfield was disrespected in the box office, which is why they had to pull the plug on The Amazing Spider-Man. It's sad because those movies are criminally underrated. They're way better than these movies. People really overrate these movies. They really, really do. And the unnecessary CGI on the suits is just really, really unnecessary. I just don't know. It seems really, really unnecessary for it to have that much CGI, and they really did Tobey Maguire's suit dirty in No Way Home. But I'll talk about that when I get to No Way Home. I'll talk about the travesty of what they did to the classic suits. They didn't really do anything to Andrew Garfield, but they mostly damaged the classic Tobey Maguire suit by putting some. But I'm just going to talk about that when I actually get to reviewing Spider-Man No Way Home. But at the bare essentials, this movie is a comedy vacation movie. They did the whole Night Monkey thing, and then MJ found out he was Peter anyways. It didn't fucking matter. Which, obviously, it would make sense that he would have to... Because, obviously, if Spider-Man is just there, obviously something's up. It's obviously one of the kids there, because it's kind of smart having the whole Night Monkey thing. But that's besides the point. I just can't believe the big plot hole about the drones and the hallucinations. It's just... People really praise this movie, and I don't understand it. People try to say this is the best MCU Spider-Man movie other than No Way Home, and that's very wrong. Spider-Man Homecoming is miles better than this, even though Spider-Man Homecoming is mid too. Which is why I will give Spider-Man Far From Home a very mediocre 6.5 out of 10. It's not the worst thing you could find in dumpster trash, but goddamn, it's far from one of the GOATs. 4 down. What's it like? 4 more to go. 4 more Spider-Man movies to go. I got the Tobey Maguire trilogy, and then No Way Home. I'll be doing the Tobey Maguire trilogy, the Sam Raimi trilogy first, and then I will review Spider-Man No Way Home as one big video, because I have a lot I want to talk about with Spider-Man No Way Home. They're controversial opinions, but they have to be said. They have to be said. But we get there when we get there. We did the first 2 MCU Spidey films, and now we're going to do the OG Sam Raimi trilogy. It's going to be fun because I actually really enjoy those movies. I watch them a lot to this day, which is why I won't have to do a rewatch for when I review them. You should expect the review sometime this week. I'll give you that. I'll have the review out I'll have the Tobey Maguire, Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy out sometime this week. Maybe a Friday might suffice. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed me reviewing the first 2 MCU Spidey films. Hopefully you guys have a fantastic day. Peace.